as a continuing thanks for the 1,000 subscribers, I am once again reviewing your cars. And today we're starting off with a bit of a truck. So, here it is. This is $5.35 million. And if you get the military version, that's only $120,000. Don't ask me, but I haven't driven this car yet. All I've done is had a bit of a look at it. It's got a fair bit of detail on here. I do like the fact that it's got like a cooling section here. You got your tire, a couple of fuel tanks. Done a pretty decent job. That doesn't really line up, but there's not like a whole lot can be done here. I wish the mod kind of stopped here, and then you could just use your own pipes from the 3D fixtures to finish the rest. But then the military version. I don't know if I should call this military version. We should probably call this the zombie version. For some reason, the headlights are on, and I can't turn them on. Like, that's the least I can have the headlights on. All right, what if I do this then? Okay, as you can see here, it's got a battering shield on the front, though when you switch it over to BeamNG, it comes out completely pitch black. You've got a lovely cannon on the front, though it's not a turret, so you can't really aim it. You have to aim the car specifically where you want to be, so maybe it's only good for breaking down walls that you want to get through. On the top here, you do have a turret. It's a little Gatling gun, that's fairly good, and some lights to illuminate the back of the Gatling gun in case you want to have a look at the back of it for some reason. Then on the side, you've got some non-turreted Gatling guns, which is going to be, not particularly great if you want to shoot things that are off to the side a little bit. So say there was somebody standing next to this vehicle, you could shoot them with that. Then you have some more turrets, Yeah, you're gonna need a full contingent? What's the name of like a small band of people? Like to control all of these weapons. And of course it's got the obligatory number plate here. Now apparently he made this vehicle with his brother, and apparently his brother is insane. But yeah, so this is what they came up with. Lots of fuel tanks, so then that way if somebody tosses a grenade in here, you're completely proper f***ed. So yeah, we're gonna give these both a bit of a try. And I thought I would bring it here. This vehicle has such a huge price that I thought maybe this thing has a ginormous engine. Let's actually check to see what engine it has. I am seeing a big V8 twin turbo, nice custom manifold, dual overhead cams. So I get the feeling they just quality span this thing as to why it cost $5.35 million. Wait, does that have, it has catalytic converters? Okay, so it seems that they did try a little bit at least to, I don't know, do something. No interior, but whatever, you can't expect everyone to do interiors. And it's so black, you can't really make out the details. So when you're trying to do these sorts of things, try to bring it up a couple of shades. So then when it comes into BeamNG, it looks like a proper black color, not pitch black like this. You can see here, they've got like a black here or a medium gray, and then just pitch black for that, which it looks good contrast against the silver there on the detailing. All right, let's see how it goes. Not a huge amount of power, if I'm honest, so far. Oh boy. Oh dear. Oh no. Okay, well, we don't seem to have a lot of traction. That is off-road tires, so we are dealing with off-road tires. Turn the UI on. Ah, traction control. There we go. Let's turn some lockers on as well. Oh, suddenly this thing seems to be a lot peppier. Oh yes. Oh, this thing is now a lot happier sideways. Though it's not the most maneuverable vehicle, if I'm honest. Turning circle kinda sucks on this thing as well. Not entirely sure how to fix that, honestly. Oh god! Yes, yes, make it up there, make it up there, make it up there. Yes, do it. Oh, okay, well, we seem to have not great traction. Well, that hasn't turned out well. Oh no, the snorkel is actually underneath the water now. No, okay, there we go. We could do this. Oh, okay, there's a dead end. All right, back to home. Let's see if the military spec does better. Okay, the engine sounds a little bit more realistic. Did I just pop a rear tire? No, we're still good. This engine doesn't seem quite as powerful. Let's see what we're dealing with under here. We have a race intake this time. Once again, the turbos with catalytic converters, dual overhead cams, V8. Can we see if it's got 5 valves or 4 valves? That looks like, yeah, that's a 4-valve engine. Let's get back to it. All right, let's give it a try. This does have a different sound to the engine, though. I wonder why this thing is millions of dollars cheaper. Oh, God. Somewhere in the order of $2.2 million cheaper. With all of these guns on it, apparently. I don't know how that works, but don't ask me. Oh, dear. These don't handle particularly great offline. Sorry, off-road. I don't know why. It doesn't handle particularly great. Is it the suspension that's not particularly great? Yeah, I get the feeling that the suspension is just a little too stiff for like super off-roading. Maybe we'll take these to an area where it does maybe a little bit more realistic off-roading. Oh, here we go. There's a little bit of off-roading. Wow, it just doesn't have the traction, and I don't know why. Does this thing weigh a lot of weight? Like, what is it? Does it weigh too little? Come on. Come on, go up. Go up. Oh, wait, hold on. We're dealing with traction control again. My bad. All right, there we go. Much better. I think just the suspension is too low. This is not an off-road vehicle. So if you're in a zombie apocalypse, this thing is gonna have troubles once you start running over too many zombies. And it's just got a slushbox automatic, so that kind of helps a little bit with off-road, but it's all defeated by the fact that it's dealing with really low-slung, relatively stiff suspension. As you can see, it has not a lot of body roll. So that hurts it in its off-road ability, but it does do nice drifting. So you got the speed here if you're on fairly flat ground here. But let me show you an example of why this vehicle is flawed. Oh no, a plethora of zombie. Okay, well maybe that wasn't enough. But you get the idea. You're gonna start running into issues of, oh look, it is actually stuck now. See, that's your problem with having too low slung of a vehicle in a zombie apocalypse. Ah, no, we're now going to get eaten alive. You know what? Now these make sense. If the zombies come up to your door because they could see you, but unfortunately the windows are too tinted, then you could just shoot them off at the door. Though, maybe they should be back here instead. But anyway, let's move on. It's time to give this thing a fill score. Wait, is this thing actually a dual clutch? Wow, that's a surprise. Anyway, starting off with the styling. The styling of this thing is kind of late 90s, early 2000s with that big bonnet bulge, kind of like the sort of generic thing that you would add on to a muscle car of kind of really any era. So it's not horrible. I would say that this thing, a little bit bland on the front, would get somewhere around a 6, I would say. You know what? I mean, I think that's reasonable. Then moving on to acceleration. This thing seems fairly decent, though the vehicle is so incredibly heavy that we're going to start running into a little bit of a problem there. Oh god. Okay, handling, yeah, is not great. Not great at all. So we're gonna give the acceleration somewhere around 6.5 and the handling somewhere around 4.5. This thing just doesn't like to handle particularly well. The fun factor of this though, well, it's not great. The driving isn't particularly great, the handling isn't great, the acceleration is moderate, oh god, the handling is just not good, especially after I've really banged in this wheel. So I'm gonna give this one, considering that it's really bad off-road, probably a 4 out of 10. The cool factor though, we're gonna say that this one gets a little bit more because it is a really big engine, but it's not very much a muscle car engine, unfortunately. So you've got a bit of a trade-off here. It's not good off-road, so people are going to know that, and people are also going to not particularly like the engine that much that like these sorts of vehicles. It's going to end up also getting a 4 out of 10. As for the trackability, 1. That's it. It's getting a 1. I don't care. It's not a great track vehicle. Can I reset? No, I can't. I have to restart the entire race, and I don't want to do that. As for features, this thing seems fairly decked out, being an American car like this with a high-end engine to go along with the snorkel and lights on the top and the extra things in the back there. I'm assuming that this thing has a fairly decent tech set out in the front of the vehicle, so I'd probably give this thing a 7. So not particularly bad. Ugh, that hurt. Moving on to comfort, this thing probably, oh my god, the front axle has come loose. The comfort is not particularly great. This thing is going to have fairly stiff suspension, and you're only dealing with 2 seats, no back area, so you're going to be a little bit cramped if you want to have stuff securely secured in your vehicle. I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10, because it probably does have very comfy seats. Moving on to practicality, you have some big stuff right in the middle of the boot area, so that's going to reduce it quite a bit. Though it is still a truck, you can carry a lot, but it is only a 2-seater, so we're going to give this thing a 5 out of 10. Wait, did I do quality? This thing probably has its quality sliders all the way up, but it is an engine that is pushed to its nth degree, I'm assuming. So this thing is probably going to also get a 5 out of 10 for quality. So anyway, practicality, quality, done. Value, 1. I'm sorry, you can't charge $3.53 million for a truck that's not particularly amazing. The ongoing cost for this engine, I'm assuming they're selling at such a low quantity car that was manufactured, and the fuel usage and the tire wear of everything of a car like this, I'm gonna also give it a 1 out of 10, giving it not a very good overall score. I'm very sorry. It does seem like a fun vehicle, but it just lacks kind of everywhere. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. Sorry, Crazy Crafter, and your vehicle, yeah. Odd. We're now dealing with this car, the Sato GT500 Evolution. Now, it has a much longer name, but I don't want to say the FR4 GT500 Evolution T, all these things. So here we have a race car, fairly decent, fairly decked out. I do like all the decals. It is running steel wheels. They are painted, but they're still steel wheels. And we've got a lovely kind of mid-engine kind of layout here. I do like the back here. It looks like it's a little bit glitched out, but I do still like it quite a bit. This lining around here doesn't seem particularly great, but I'm assuming that's a limitation of automation, not the car designer here. We've got a lovely undercarriage. It's a fairly decently well done car. And the fact that this is also body color, that fits the era quite well. You've got the racing fuel intake area there. It's pretty good. Got lots of aero on the front here, and this splay out here, not quite lined up, but it actually looks really good still. I do like that quite a bit. Wish they had lined that up a little bit better though. And then the be-all and end-all, this little miniature canard, which works as a wing here. Oh yeah, without that, this car would have been completely incomplete. We've got push rod suspension in the front, and then push rod suspension in the rear, all with an east-west, and it's a 5-cylinder. Oh, I do like a good 5-banger. The exhaust quality seems a little bit low there. It doesn't line up. Oh. Yeah, I like this thing a lot. That's interesting. I like. Though I wish it kind of had been naturally aspirated and they'd just gone full bangers because it's got the open intake manifold. I wish automation got these exports right though. Anyway, we're dealing with a lot of downforce. We got here what's probably... Oh no, that is a real wing. I do know that one. That's also a real wing. And then we've got the rear diffuser, which acts as a wing. Then on the front, we got a few wings here. We got the front splitter, which is a wing. Got this, which is a wing. All of these canards, which are wings. Get the feeling we're going to have considerably more rear downforce than front downforce. But we're about to see how this car deals with things. And since it's a race car, we're going to keep it on the racetrack. Or we're going to turn traction control off. No, thank you. We don't want that. And acceleration-wise, this thing feels very powerful. Oh god. Okay, it feels as if this thing could have had a little bit better suspension setup. Oh, okay. We ooh. It has like a weird kind of like, it wants to oversteer but then doesn't and wobbles back to center. Feels as if that's maybe a roll bar issue. How's brakes? Brakes are quite good. I likey. Temperatures are going up a fair bit though, but oh god. Okay, you have to watch out for snap oversteer with the amount of power this thing is running. I wonder if this thing is better. Oh god, it's not easy to get off the line. It's, oh god. Okay, let's try to do that again. See if that was my error or maybe this car is a little bit hard to control. Ouch. And this thing has a sequential gearbox by the looks of it. And going around here, okay. Let's try this again, but with sporty traction control on. And see if that helps us out with a little bit of control here. This thing accelerates really fast though. Maybe I should get the gauge up here to see what it does. Wow, this thing actually turns really fast and really well. This might actually be a good contender for doing a lap record. If I can get this under control. I get the feeling this also would do a lot better with steering wheel. And I'm sorry guys, I'm not going to do a steering wheel with any of your cars because that takes too much time for me to set up. Okay, well the brakes here are a lot better than what I thought. Now going around here, we've got a little bit better control around here. Okay, it's going sideways, and it's around. Maybe this thing would love to have a good bit of setup with a steering wheel. Because I get the feeling I could have saved that with steering wheel setup. Oh, okay, yep, a little too much power. And then here we got understeer, but just like the right amount of understeer. Seems really well balanced. Oh, okay, no, too much understeer. And then we get the right amount of, okay. So there's like a really bad spot around 100 kilometers an hour where this thing doesn't particularly want to handle particularly great. Oh, you know what? I also noticed in the design section of the car, this thing under the slow steering component area, it does actually have a lot of oversteer. But then I'm assuming they got the downforce set up just right, so then it doesn't oversteer when we get into higher speeds. By the way, this car is by Anomaly. So thank you, Anomaly, for suggesting this car. This car is really fast. Probably want to do a lap with it. And it's probably going to have to be a silent lap because this car looks like it takes a lot of concentration. Especially with the fact that this thing is going so fast that it's actually hurting my frame rates. Oh boy, this car is just quite bonkers. I love the sound of that 5-cylinder. I think the 5-cylinder might be the best sounding engine that comes out of automation, maybe. Because a lot of engines don't sound particularly great, especially the V12. It just sounds very underwhelming. All right, let's go do a lap. Also, I don't know what the race category of GT500 is, but this is a 2005 GT500 car. Even though this car body lends itself with those pop-up headlights to something more like an 80s car. But let's give it a try. Sweat mode activate. Okay, so it's maybe not the fastest car in the world. I could probably easily knock off another 5 seconds while staying on the track. This is quite fast. Especially it's only got such a small engine. I likey. I wonder, is this thing all-wheel drive? No, it's not. Okay. Wow, that's actually really fast for just a rear-wheel drive car. That is impressive. Well done. Now it's time to give it the fill score. Now, I did notice one thing. We got brake fade on the front, which was not great. You've got 3 pistons and a big thing there. I get the feeling maybe you could have optimized those brakes to be a little bit better, though I don't know what sort of material they are. Let's start with the price of this thing. Yeah, it's $9.27 million. Yikes. That's a big old yikes from me. Anyway, starting with the styling, this thing looks kind of like half modern, half dated. It's very weird. You got like these modern kind of looking lights down here, and then lights which wouldn't have been legal at this time period. And the rest of the body just doesn't really seem particularly new. Or they've got these old school 80s Group B or even 70s looking Group B areas here. It's not really congruent, but it looks pretty good. I do like it, so we're going to give it a 7 out of 10. As for acceleration, yeah, this thing gets a 9 out of 10. This thing is pretty good. In fact, let's take it over to do a drag strip. Okay, what will this thing do down the drag strip? We've got to set to sports traction control. Oh my god, we seem to have a bit of a problem here, guys. This is not great. Oh dear, okay, so we did 1.82 seconds to 100. That was crazy. That was straight bonkers. I have never seen a car do quite a mono. Oh my god, that's insane. Oh god. This thing is stupid. What the frick? Oh dear. Well, there's my thumbnail. All right, let's try doing this one a little bit more sensibly. Trying to not get a wheelie going. And see if we can improve our time just a little bit there. We did have to edge it off quite easily. We got an 8.4. Nice. That's a very fast car. That is, oh boy. So yeah, acceleration, yeah, it still gets a 9. It's not the most berserk car in the world. That would be my car here. That one does it in 7.7 seconds. Onto the fun factor. This thing is rear-wheel drive and absolutely ballistic. The fun factor is going to be very high, except for the fact that it's probably only got 1 seat in there, so taking passengers might be a bit of a problem. It's going to get only an 8 out of 10. The cool factor though, this is a race car. Not that you'd be able to really probably legally take this car on the road. It's still going to get quite high. It's an 8 out of 10. The trackability, 10. Straight up, this thing is really trackable. It may not be the fastest car in the world, but its ability to be thrashed around a track is extremely high. Now let's move on to, the daily categories. Yeah, this one's not going to do quite so well. As for features, I'm assuming this thing has a seat and a steering wheel. So it gets a 1 out of 10. The comfort as well is going to be incredibly low. And the fear of you like pushing this car to its 100% all the time, it's going to make you very uncomfortable. You're going to get a 1 out of 10. As for the quality, these cars are probably only going to survive a race or two before things start to just hemorrhage breakdowns all over the place. It's only going to get a 2 out of 10 because it still does have to have a high enough quality to at least survive a race. As for practicality, you're going to have a lot of boot space. Wait, no you're not. It's got an engine in the rear, so it's got a frunk, but that's filled up with push-rod suspension, so you're not going to have much room in said frunk. It gets a 1 out of 10. As for value, it's a dated car. Back in the day, this thing may have actually been good value for a race car at $9.whatever million. But now this is a dated car, you're not really going to be getting much from your sponsors. I'm going to say that this thing probably only gets a 2 out of 10. Also, its resale value, unless it's like a historically significant car, not one that I've ever heard of. If it was like the one that maybe broke the Pikes Peak record, or one of the ones that broke the Nürburgring record, I would say that this could get higher ratings. But no, it only gets a 2 out of 10. As for ongoing costs, well, you're dealing with a one-off race car here, so you're going to have a little bit of problem with finding spare parts. Everything is going to be custom made. Also, lots of fuel, and these tires are going to be horrendously expensive to replace. So I'm only going to give this a 1 out of 10. So giving it not a particularly well-balanced full score, but nonetheless, this is where it stands. Next we have a car from Canola Skies, and it's seemingly using the same car body, which is unfortunate because they're going to be reviewed in the same episode. Two cars, two different people, two different ethos of design here. And for some reason, the taillights just won't turn off. Oh, no, there we go. Oh, well. So, we have a really funky looking rear end. I do like it. The little fans in there as if this is meant to be a fan car or something. Pretty cool. Dual exhaust as opposed to no exhaust, but then again, I get the feeling that might be a fixture issue because there is actually exhaust here. I don't know why that glitched out. We've got another mid-engine car, probably also transverse because it is a very compact car. I do like the front look here, that's pretty cool. Nice vents going in here to where the engine would be, like some sort of MR2. Oh no, it's got a longitudinal V6. Interesting. Naturally aspirated as well, I do like it. It is a road legal car, it's got a catalytic converter there. So let's give this convertible a bit of a hot try. This thing doesn't have any sort of traction control. It's a 1992 car, so if it did have traction control, it would have been at the very beginning of traction control for more modern type cars. You get the feeling that this is also probably a like minor supercar, like your Lancia Stratos type thing, where it was realistically a supercar, but it only had a V6 and it was made by Ferrari, even though Ferrari denies it. This is just a rather decent engine. I mean, it's not like overpowered. This is a very realistic kind of setup. The aerial though is kind of off kilter, though that kind of irks me some little bit. The handling, you know what? This actually feels like a Ferrari, you know? Not particularly amazing or anything, but like really good and comfortable. This is a pretty decent, well-balanced car. This thing could probably do with ABS. ABS was used in this sort of period of time, so I don't know why they didn't have that, but I suppose for supercars, they don't really go all out in these sorts of things. You just have to be very smooth on the brakes. This car just feels smooth, good, and high quality. Also, they wanted to point out when they uploaded this car to my Discord server, you know, this one right here, car files for testing, no spam. They wanted it specifically to be known. An example of a car with full interior with no mod parts. That's a bit of a tongue twister. Anyway, what they're trying to say is this thing has no mod fixtures. This is all just basic car stuff. And I think they brought that up because previously they were talking about how many mods I had, so they just wanted to make sure that I could actually use this car. I do like that they put full time and effort on their interior. That is something that I've done only a few times because you don't really spend a lot of time looking at the interior. It takes a lot of time, and really I only ever want to do the interior if I am very specifically trying to do something where I'm, say, doing a supercar and I want people to know that this is a supercar interior. But yeah, the only issue we have here is the driving steering wheel and everything is on the wrong side. It should actually be on this side. So that is a mark down for them. They've accidentally made a car that is just completely unusable. Anyway, let's drive this ring around the racetrack while we give it a fill score. Starting with the weekend category, styling. I would say that this car looks mostly good. Back in the 90s though, it would not have had a different colored diffuser on the rear there. That would have been body colored. I don't know if I like the lights. They don't really seem to line up with the body, but the rest of it, I really do like. I would give this thing an 8 out of 10. It's period correct and looks really nice. I like it a lot. As for acceleration, it's not bonkers, but it is only running a V6, so you can't expect a lot from it, but for a car that costs... how much does this car cost? Oh, apparently this only costs $47,000. So this is, you know what? This might be a sports car that's aimed at the middle class. Kind of something like an MR2, but a little bit more race orientated, a little bit cooler, a little bit better. I do like it. That is quite interesting. The acceleration though is still actually under par. You would expect a lot more, especially $47,000. That's US dollars. I would expect, I don't know, a turbo engine or maybe a V8. So I'm gonna give this thing probably a 6 out of 10. It's just a little bit above not great. I do like the fact though that this engine revs up to 7,500 RPM. That adds to its fun factor. I'd say that this thing with its handling, it's not uncomfortable, but it handles really well. And you're not dealing with snap oversteer and stuff like that. It's really well balanced. I'd give this probably an 8 out of 10. Really good. As for cool factor, this thing is probably the sort of car that would end up like the MR2, where people that know it love it, and everybody else that doesn't know it is gonna look at it and go, wow, that car looks really interesting. But it's not as ugly as the MR2, so I'm gonna give this one a much better score. This gets another 8 out of 10. As for the trackability, this is not a track beast, but it does make you feel really comfortable and confident. Over rev risk. I've got this set up to automatic, so that's the game doing it itself. It's not my fault. Jeez. Let's refresh it. That wasn't the car's fault. That was the game's fault. I would say that this is the sort of car that you would really enjoy to take out to a track day. You know, just take it around in a non-race environment, just having a lot of fun on a track, much like this. I would say that this car gets a 7 out of 10. It's pretty darn good. Moving on to daily categories though. Your features, I mean, it has what looks to be just a generic tape deck type radio and a straightforward manual transmission. This thing is not decked to the walls. It does have a decent sound system though. I did notice some door speakers and stuff like that, so it's not nothing. I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10. Because nowadays you would expect cars to have a much higher, and these are always compared to modern day features. As for comfort, this thing has pretty decent suspension. It seems really good. And, okay, well, that was a little bit of a stuff up. The oversteer is quite controllable, and just in general, this vehicle is quite controllable. I'd give this thing probably an 8 out of 10, even though those seats don't look particularly great. You know what? No, I'm gonna say that this maybe gets... No, we'll keep it at an 8 out of 10. Those seats do look fairly hugging. As for quality though, it does have a fairly decent engine, but it is high revving, so I'm assuming that the wear of the components is quite high, and it being a lesser produced engine, it's probably not going to be completely fleshed out, much like more common engines would be. I'm assuming that this is just one that was created for this and maybe was put in another car, but it's not the sort of engine that normal manufacturers would create. I'm gonna say that this then probably also being such a low production run vehicle that they didn't flesh out everything else, much like the MR2s, which were really poorly fleshed out. It probably is going to get a 6 out of 10. As for practicality, you have no boot space. The front, well, what sort of suspension are we dealing with in the front here? We have good old McPherson struts, so you do actually have a sizable front, but most of it will be taken up with tire, and it has an intercooler. Okay, here's just a little bit of addendum note, whatever you want to call it. You wouldn't have the intercooler up the front here. You would actually have the intercooler either here or here. Having the intercooler up the front is going to be an issue with massive amounts of turbo lag. So I'm assuming what they meant to have here was a radiator. Oh yeah, it doesn't even have a turbo, so that is meant to be a radiator. So not only did they use the wrong mod fixture, because there is actually a radiator mod fixture, also I just realized that it's got steel wheels, so that hurts the features section. So as for practicality, you've got a small frunk and there will be a lot of tire in there, and it's only a 2-seater. I'd give this thing like a 3 out of 10. As for value, it's not a ginormous price tag, but it's also not a particularly cheap car, especially if you're only getting a V6 out of it. I might try to shoehorn some extra power into there, but I don't like your chances. This thing is only going to get, what do I give it? This one's a really hard one because it does seem like a really good car, but also not as extreme as what you want for the price tag. I also don't know how the resale on these things would go. I get the feeling the resale would be quite high on a car like this. So maybe a 6 out of 10. As for ongoing costs, yeah, you're not going to be particularly great here. Your fuel is good. Your tires look like a generic type size, so that's good. In more modern cars, that looks like it would be a little bit more common of a tire size, but they're not rotatable tires. Your tire sizes are different, so that's not going to be particularly great. And let's say the ongoing costs here are probably going to be around a 5 out of 10. And that gives it an okay overall fill score. I hope you did enjoy, because I do enjoy this car, but I think it's time for us to move on to the final car of the video, also by Canola Skies as well. I just realized I made a whoopsie daisy. This is the car that's actually meant to have no mod fixtures. That one does have mod fixtures, and at least you saw the thing there. So yeah, I'm sorry about that one. That was my bad. Really derp. But this is a vehicle with mod fixtures and full interior. So let's have a bit of a look around. You've got a cool looking bonnet scoop here on this really cool looking car. This is 1984, even though this car does look a little bit more 70s than 80s. It has a scoop on the side here, which I'm assuming is for rear brake ventilation, though it's a little too close to here. Maybe they should have had it on the door here and then had a vent connector, which is quite common, to go around here. That's too sharp of an angle. That is going to hurt airflow and aerodynamics. Let's see what's in the back here. There is no engine in the back, so I don't know why it's here. Just for that brake cooling. Got double wishbone on the rear, and it looks to be chassis rail. So this thing is going to be a little bit heavier, but a little bit more period correct. So that works pretty well. As for the front, we've got we got double wishbones again. Then we've got here a V6 twin turbo. Interesting. So this is going to be something more like your, I can't remember, what's that one car? Yeah, I'll put a picture of it up and you can tell me what the name of it is, because I won't have figured it out during the video, and you telling me in the comments is going to be too late, because I would have figured it out because I found the photo of it. Yeah, that was a bit of a tongue twister, wasn't it? I'm sorry, let's move on. So this is going to be like your luxury sports coupe type thing, though it does look more like a better body suit shape suited to something like the Dictator car that I made. But yeah, let's move on. The seat. Oh, this is not a mod fixture. This is made entirely from parts. Oh, that's interesting. Same with the steering wheel. It's all pitch black though. I can't really tell what it is that I'm looking at. These are all just 3D fixtures. Very well done. Yeah, that's a smart move, though that shifter boot doesn't look particularly correct. Anyway, I do like it. The windscreen wipers don't look lined up correctly. Something's wrong there. I can't tell what it is. I do like the rear thing here. That does look better than what the standard car would normally have. The wing, which is probably going to do nothing because the flow separation from here, real life would do absolutely nothing whatsoever for downforce. Yeah, really interesting. I do like the front here. It's like the sort of car body where they designed it maybe a decade earlier, and then they're like, oh, now we have to update the car body. So they've got on this like cool splitter aero design area there. That wouldn't have been body color. That would have actually been plastical down here. But I do like the effort. It still looks really good, even if this is more of a thing that they would have done in the 90s. I like it. Very well done. Also, they've done a thing which I've done a few times, which is put in the lights here that illuminate the number plate. I like it a lot. Well done. You've got lots of small details, which are really well done. Bonus point for being really smart and savvy with your design. So it's about time that we find out what this thing does. It has a very high revving engine. Very quiet though, so that adds to its more luxury side of it. GNX, that's the name of the model of the car. Okay, just remembered it. And the power, we got low blow turbo, so that's pretty cool. The power is quite low, which is also very accurate for the time. Oh my god, the brakes are horrible. Oh, that's atrocious. Oh, that is, oh god, okay. Very American in its handling, like, hey, they want more power, so let's just give them more power and not actually think about anything else about the car. This is kind of the early period of traction control. I think Volvo was the first one to really develop the traction control properly, and they put it on a race car, but then they didn't put it on a road gun car. Oh my god, the oversteer is horrific. Oh my god, this is not a good car. Oh dear, the other one was amazing. This car is not particularly great. So the handling is going to get a really big hit here, unfortunately. Sorry, bro, or bros, you know, I'm not sure how to genderize canola sky. Or maybe you're genderless, who knows? Also, the rear boot, like, it's so far rear extended, that's crazy. This is, yeah, not amazing handling. Okay, let's see if this rear downforce does do something. And high speed corner here. Nope. Oh god, it's sketchy as which I love, because that's something that they probably would have just released to actual things. So let's give this thing a bit of a slow drive around. Bad brakes, bad handling. This is not amazing. So like slow speed. Okay, no. Okay, yeah, this thing is scary as I think if this thing maybe had a little less turbo. Oh my god. There's actually something broken with this car. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, let's just move on to the fill score, because I already know what sort of score I'm going to be giving this for at least one of its categories, or two of its categories. Jesus. At least this is only $29,600. So this is a very budget car. We're gonna start with styling. For the era, it looked really good. Nowadays it looks dated, but it might also have that kind of like retro look where people now look at the GNX and go, you know what, that car actually looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 because I do like it. It does look pretty cool. Though I think your rear wing, oh my god, it locks up at the drop of a hat. What you would normally have here is a wing that would extend out to the edges here, but it would have the supports on the boot here, so then when it lifts up, it doesn't actually attach to the boot. So that's just a little bit of information you could use in your future designs. I don't like the wing. I'm sorry. As for the acceleration, this thing is not great. Considering that this thing has a V6 twin turbo, you'd think that this thing would be a lot better. The handling, yeah, that's gonna be a 0. I don't usually give 0s, I usually give a 1 because nothing is actually really atrociously bad. But this thing is just, it's bad. It's really bad. Yeah. This is going to cause deaths on the road. I'm assuming that this is the sort of thing that showed up in newspapers as like the new death trap cars that are too powerful, when it's not really a power thing, but newspaper people, the tabloids just dumb people. They have no idea how things work. The fun factor, yeah, this is gonna be quite low because even though this thing does have a twin turbo engine, the handling is not good. I'm gonna give this thing a 3 out of 10. The cool factor, this thing is gonna be very well known. It's also gonna be like well known like the Group B rally cars, where it's just known for killing lots of people. It gets a 6 out of 10. As for trackability, 1. 0. Sorry. Yeah, nah, 0. It's so bad. Moving on to daily categories. The features. Let's actually have a look at what he's done for features. You've got a manual here, you've got cup holders. I can't actually see any features. I don't think it actually has features. Oh, I noticed. It has a trip reset. Oh, that's so awesome. And here he's also got the lovely little detail. Another bonus point for attention to detail. Oh, it's so done here. This is the hazard light switch. Very well done. My god, you've done so much detail, except the 80s, they wouldn't have had cup holders. Sorry. That's a point off. So your attention to detail is good, but also inaccurate. So it still only gets the 1 bonus point, which is still pretty awesome. This car has so much attention to detail. So features, yeah, there is no radio, nothing like that, unfortunately. You've, yeah, not got a whole lot going on for this car. It gets a 2 out of 10. As for comfort, this thing is scary. Though it is very soft and everything, your comfort is going to be disrupted by how bad the handling is. Like, it will be scary. You're going to be puckering. Every time you go around any sort of, like, curve or corner, it's going to give you stomach aches from the amount of, like, puckering you're going to do. You're going to be like, ah! And your stomach is just going to get a total workout. It gets a 1 out of 10. As for quality, I get the feeling that this car wouldn't have sold very well, so they wouldn't have had many iterations of it, meaning that it wasn't fleshed out very well, and also early turbos, not high quality. I'm gonna give this probably a 2 out of 10. As for practicality, it's big, it's got big boots, it's hurt by the fact that it's a 2-door with a full seat contingency, so it's only going to get maybe somewhere around a, what do I give it? 7 out of 10? Yeah, let's give it a 7 out of 10. The value, this car is atrocious, so it's going to be a really not great car, and the price is low, so I don't know, you've kind of got a real mix there. 6 out of 10? Yeah, let's go with 6 out of 10. As for the ongoing cost of this thing, because it probably received very little support afterwards, because this car is so atrocious, and the fact that it's going to chew up your tires like nothing, and having to replace bumper bars and fenders all the time because this thing just oversteers like crazy, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10 for ongoing costs. I am sorry, but with his 1 bonus point, this is what it gets. Not particularly great. That is not a great score, yeah, for any car. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I will be doing more of these in the future. We got our nice, lovely dented out car here. Oh, they've even got little pop held in down headlights. Let's reset this car quickly. That is, oh my God. No, another point. It gets another point. This is where the standings sit for now. You get to see where all of the cars are sitting. It's got alloy wheels. That's a bit of a feature, but yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoy my regular videos along with these this new series that I'm doing. As a thank you for 1,000 subscribers, we are now at 1,800. No, sorry, 1,082. Oh God, I would love 1,800, but 1,082 subscribers. I'll catch you guys next time. Goodbye. Oh God, just go in a straight line for God's sake.